welcome you back to my city here. I mean, I saw you got to see KCI. Was that your first time going through
No,
the new
I've seen
terminal?
it. No, it's like my third time. It's my third time.
It feels good. It feels like actually, you walking through, it's like, oh, there's food options here, and
Yeah, like it's actually a functional airport.
there's more than one bathroom here now. It's like, oh my goodness, we
Yeah,
done moved up in the world.
right, man. How does it compare to Atlanta?
That's elite. That's such a loaded. That's such a loaded question
'Cause
because
I've heard
you
complaints about Atlanta's airport, low key.
it's busy and it's big, but I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, it's just the traffic.
I still like about KCI, like it is a little bigger than obviously the older one, but you can still get in and out pretty quickly. I would say,
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
it used to be like 5 minutes, now it's like 10.
yeah, yeah. I was impressed, man.
Let's
You
get
know.
to it, man. Mark Gunnels is here in my city. He's here in the city of champions. He's here in Kansas City handling some family business. Good to have him here for a week. We're gonna link up for sure. Make sure we get a photo or something while he's in town. Steven Serta is behind the board as well in Kansas City. Aaron Ladd here as we walk through Chiefs Coast to Coast, episode 57 here on the Arrowhead Pride Podcast Network. What a week it was on and off the field for the world champion Chiefs. We'll recap their blowout win over the Bears, as well as a special fan who was in attendance. If you haven't heard yet, then we'll head on down to Vegas and get the good, the bad, and the ugly from Mark Gunnels' predictions and picks from week 3, and then look ahead to week 4. Can't have Chiefs Coast to Coast on Arrowhead Pride Podcast Network without you. Yes, you listening right now at home, whether you're working out, whether you on the way to work, whatever you're doing, we appreciate y'all making us part of your day, and we want to make y'all part of the pod. Couple different ways we can do that. Easy way is our voicemail line, 816-514-1267. Actually got a voicemail today that's good enough to make the pod, so we'll throw that one up here and discuss as we recap week 3 of the National Football League. Another way to do that is to chime in on wherever you're watching, YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook.
You got it.
Yes.
X. You remember it. Okay.
Wherever
Okay.
y'all are tapped in with us, make sure that y'all use hashtag C2C to make sure that y'all are part of the show. Now that I mentioned that, let me go ahead and blast this out on X really quick to make sure everybody out there knows that we're live, as we are every Wednesday at 6:00 on Arrowhead Pride platforms.
Yes, sir. I'm so proud of you, man. You got the X down this week. Major improvement over the last couple of weeks. It's a process, though. I get it. It's still fresh, but you're making Elon Musk very happy. So,
That I'm not so happy about, but it is good
well,
to it's good to have some consistency here.
yeah, for sure.
KC Colossal's tapped in with us on YouTube, says, "What's good, fellas?" Watching from KC Mo. Good to have y'all. JV is back. So yeah, if you're in the chat, love to make y'all part of the show, and we'll get to those questions later in the show. Let's get right into it, man. Chiefs recap.
Mahomes avoids. He's a magician.
Chiefs recap.
Chiefs improved to 2-1 on the year after dismantling the Chicago Bears. 41-10 the final. Really don't even know if it was as close as that score shows, because the Bears got a garbage time touchdown towards the end. Patrick Mahomes has a Patrick Mahomes-like day, 24 for 33, 272, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Isaiah Pacheco is the Chiefs' leading rusher with 62 yards on 15 carries. Look, I have Justin Fields in a couple fantasy leagues, and I went into the day just saying, I need 2 scores from you. I don't care how they happen. If it's a blowout game, even better, because I know you'll be throwing the ball and you'll be running all over the yard. And still, Justin Fields finishes under 100 yards passing on the day with a touchdown and an interception. He was running around for his life for many parts of that game. So let's go to the voicemail first. This is different. We're going to start with a voicemail here because the voicemail is actually, I know, right? We're not even going to hear from our goals first. We're going to hear from a voicemail first because I think it leads in perfectly to how we can discuss this game and break this down. This voicemail is from a Chicago Bears fan. What does he have for us?
Hey, what's up, guys? This is a Bears fan calling in. I'm just getting your opinion. The Bears are obviously a terrible team. I hate that I love them, but I do. Nevertheless, do you guys have faith that Patrick Mahomes actually looks better, or do you think the Bears are just really that bad? I think the Bears are just that bad, but combination of both. All right, God bless.
That leads perfectly into this, Mark Gunnels, is the Chiefs offense, and I want to thank him for that voicemail. He didn't say his name, just said a Bears fan, so thank you, a Bears fan, for chiming in. Is a Bears fan onto something here? Is the Chiefs offense back on track, or was it just an inferior opponent that they faced in week 3 at home?
I think it's a mixture of both. I don't think you can go one side or the other on this one, because last week against the Jaguars, going back to week 2, while the offense didn't score that many points, I feel like a lot of their drives got killed by penalties. So we didn't even get to see them really get into a flow because they had multiple drive killers. There were several times they were facing 3rd and 15 and more. When you're living in that world, it's hard for you to have a consistent offense, sustained drive. So I do think they cleaned up that in this game. There were a couple of penalties still. We'll get to that later with Jawan Taylor. But for the most part, it was more clean than it was in Jacksonville. So I think you were able to see them actually have a functional offense, not playing behind the chains, living in 2nd and 5, 3rd and short. So I do think it's a mixture of both, because we know the Bears they're awful. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I think there's a part of this where maybe guys psychologically quit. And I hate saying that about professional athletes, but I do think there is a thing when you had all that turmoil that was going on last week in Chicago, and now you had to face the defending champions in their building. And when you get down multiple scores, considering your offense can't even score one touchdown, I think defensively you're kind of defeated, because at that point the game's already over. You already gave up 14, 20 points. Your offense isn't scoring that. So it's like, what am I playing super hard for at this point? Because the offense that can't score. So I think that plays a part in it as well when you have such a bad offense. And I think it leads to your defense not being able to play well. And then also, you're on the field a lot, right? You got 3 and outs. You're not sustaining drives. The defense is coming out there a lot back to back. And eventually you're going to wear down, not only mentally, like I mentioned, but physically as well. So it's definitely a mixture of both, though.
Chiefs held the ball for 36 minutes to Chicago's 23 in the week 3 win at GHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. JV's Hangout says the Buffalo Bills only beat the Bears by 3 points. So who knows? I'm starting to agree, or I would side and agree with you a little bit more on this, Mark. It's a mixture of both. I said something on 610 and I'll repeat it here. My parents would always say growing up, you don't get credit for doing the things you're supposed to do, taking out the trash, doing your homework, making your bed. That's the stuff, the little stuff that, you think as a kid, like, oh, you get celebrated and like I should get smiles and stuff like that for. But no, in my opinion, the Chiefs were supposed to do this to the Bears. It was supposed to look like this. There's no way that we come on this podcast and we celebrate the Chiefs for doing anything less than what they gave us here in week 3. I do give Kansas City some kudos for how it looked and making it look as easy as it did. If we're taking away that Jawan Taylor penalty, we had another touchdown on the board. And then, of course, Blaine Gabbert comes in and there's a couple hiccups in the offense there. One thing when I'm looking at the stat sheet from week 3, one thing that really gives me something to celebrate as far as this offense getting back on track is just how many players were involved in the passing game. Mahomes connects with 10 different receivers or pass catchers, if you will, in the win, even though Kadarius Toney's 1 catch went for -1 yards. But that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see from a Mahomes-led offense when it's clicking, Mark, when everything's going well. I still have a few more qualms about the run game and potentially how impactful they can be once the weather starts to change a little bit. But as far as Mahomes leading the offense down the field and capitalizing on their drives, we saw everything we needed to see, in my opinion, against the lowly Chicago Bears. So you know what the scale is right now. You have your control in the experiment. You know what it looks like when all things are going well against air or against the Chicago Bears. Now you go and see what it looks like against a tougher test. I don't think that'll come this next week, but eventually, right? You're building blocks.
Yeah, for sure. And also, I want to mention, kind of going back to what you said about Jawan Taylor, that penalty that took away the MVS touchdown.
Yeah.
Not only that, if they didn't take that away, we don't see Mahomes roll his ankle, because that happened the next play. It happened the very next play. I think that's what made it even worse. Is like, we could have avoided this if that didn't happen. So, but he's fine. He's good to go. But that was definitely a hold your breath moment for Chiefs Kingdom.
I was talking about the pass catchers, and I know you shot a little message in the chat about wanting to give some love to the young guys after kind of a rocky start to the season. In this week 3 game against the Bears, Rashee Rice gets 7 targets, 5 catches, 59 yards. Sky Moore, 6 targets, 4 catches, 42 yards. Not eye-popping numbers off the stat sheets, but as far as impact, Mark Gunnels, as far as these guys putting their fingerprints and getting that trust and that chemistry down with QB1, where's your comfort level as far as what you saw after this game?
I feel really good. I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you want me to do that for you, for as far as my comfort level with the young receivers, I'll probably put it at a solid 7.5. I'm pretty comfortable. I mean, the fact that Rashee Rice is already having an impact, and we're not even a quarter into the season yet. And about the whole rookie wide receiver curse under Andy Reid. We've heard about that all off season, and he may be breaking it. I mean, that guy gets upfield quick. There's no wasted motions, Aaron, when he catches the ball. He's not trying to dance around.
Yeah.
He's not trying to go backwards and trying to juke somebody and go all the way to the house. He catches it and he's gone. And unfortunately, the guy could have had 2 touchdowns. He got stopped at the 1-yard line twice. I don't think I've ever seen that before for one guy in the game. You get stopped at the 1-yard line twice. So that was kind of frustrating for him, I could imagine. You want those touchdowns for your stats, especially as a rookie. But, I mean, I feel really good with him. He's good at finding the soft spots in the zone. I think that's really vital. He kind of gives me that Juju vibe from last year. Kind of a big body receiver, move the chains, but he has more pop as far as acceleration than Juju did. And then Sky Moore, you already know how high I am on Sky Moore. And I did some math, and right now he's on pace for just under 700 yards on the season.
He's trying to figure out how to get that 800 to pay off.
I did the calculations. Right now he's on pace for about 680, but that's considering he had 0 yards week 1. So I feel pretty good he's going to get over 700. Wasn't that the bet? 700?
I thought it was 8. I thought it was 8.
We'll have to go back and listen.
I'm pretty sure it was 8. Look at you already trying to slither your way down to 700. You're not slick, Mark Gunnels. You're not slick.
But no, how do you feel about Sky and Rashee from what you've seen so far?
I thought the young and Kingdom Queens, shout out them. They do great work. And really love them tapping in with us here. They commented in our chat here. Chiefs offense built confidence this week. Bears had a lot of adversity. It may take a while for them to overcome it. That's what this was. That's probably one of the biggest themes I would take away from this week on both sides of the ball. We know that the defense has been playing well, and sure, whatever more confidence they could get, the better. But offensively, you needed to go out there and do it against another professional football team. No matter how professional we think the Chicago Bears unit is currently, they're the next team on the schedule. And you went out there and you put it together. Rashee Rice, to me, I always thought had what it took to make an impact right away. It was just about catching the ball, man. And I didn't get too nervous about that in the preseason because it's preseason. He's a rookie. There's a lot of things going on. He's trying to get plays. He's trying to go out there and just play fluidly, get chemistry with QB1, all the different stuff. Like, I knew eventually the game would start to slow down eventually. I didn't know it would happen as soon as this. But I do have more faith in him than 24 as of this very moment. I have a lot of faith right now in Kansas City's defense. Talk about the confidence that they've been building. These numbers from Pro Football Focus, the Chiefs have allowed points on just 21.9% of their drives this year. That ranks second in the NFL. 7 of their 32 drives have ended in points for the opposing team. That includes week 1 without Chris Jones. So don't just say, hey, since Chris Jones has come back, yada, 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 this. The Chiefs defenses play well. They continued that against Justin Fields, who had looked uncomfortable all up until week 3 and through week 3.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about this defense, especially considering we know typically under Spags in Kansas City, they normally start slow. That's kind of been the theme where they start off slow, then about midway through the season, they start getting their footing and head into the playoffs. They're pretty damn good. So the fact they're starting off this quick already, and not to mention, like you said, without Chris Jones game 1, you didn't have Nick Bolton this game against the Bears. I know it's just the Bears, but still, Nick Bolton is your second or third best defender, wherever you rank him on your defense. And not to mention, Aaron, there's a guy named Charles Omenihu that's just waiting in the wings to come back week 7 against the Chargers. So I think there's another level this defense can go to. I could see how people saying, well, maybe are they capping out too early? Are they peaking too fast? I could see that concern. But like I said, I think Charles Omenihu is really going to be a thing. He was stuck in San Francisco. We know how good their defensive line is every single year. It's kind of hard to crack that rotation. Even when he did, he still made impactful plays. So, yeah, I think there's another level they can reach. And then how about Drew Tranquil? I mean, stepping in, first year in the system, taking that Mike position for Nick Bolton, calling out the plays. And from what I can tell, he seemed like he had a pretty damn good game. All the players were raving about him, talking about how he had the understanding of the playbook and what the Bears were trying to do, and just very, very impressed. Because it's not easy to have that green dot just thrown on you when you didn't have it during training camp or preseason or the first couple of games. So I thought that was really the main thing that stood out for me without Nick Bolton being in the fold.
Yeah, that's what I was going to hit on. I know you want to touch and give some love on Trent McDuffie for his performances 3 weeks into the NFL season, but had a chance to catch up with Drew Tranquil in the locker room after the game, finished with a team high 8 tackles and a half a sack in the win over Chicago, and just said, he had been training up to this moment, right? Andy Reid is known to have one of the toughest training camps in all the National Football League, if not the toughest. This is a guy who came over from a division foe, thought that he knew things about the Chiefs and how they do business from the outside, and then got on the inside and realized just how important attention to detail is, just how tough it is to run Steve Spagnuolo's unit defensively, and stepped in and did a big job after really having limited snaps in week 1, has kind of had to turn his workload up a little bit more. It sounds like Nick Bolton's absence could extend another week, as he was a DNP again on Wednesday for practice. So look, we know Kansas City, and we've had our eyes on some of the decisions that they'll have to make headed into 2024. Obviously, L'Jarius Sneed is one of those guys that the fan base will wonder, will he be here? Will he not be here? There's going to be a decision made in that linebacker room, right? Who's the odd man out? This was a unit that kept 6 people in it this year. Drew Tranquil was one of the new faces. Yeah. He's kind of auditioning now, if you will, Mark, to be like, to steal Isaiah Pacheco's phrase, to take a grown man's job, to be honest with you. And through 1 week being the green dot, being the Mike backer, he's done exactly that.
Yeah, 100%, man. And he's a guy we've obviously faced throughout the years with him being on the Chargers. So we understood the type of player that he is. He's one of the best, I think, coverage linebackers in the league. He has really good skills when it comes to that department. But speaking of coverage skills, let me talk about, like you mentioned, you like that transition? Yeah,
I see you learning some things.
Yeah. Trent McDuffie, man. This is a guy that I've been super high on since they drafted him in the first round. And I think part of it is because we've seen Brett Veach throughout the years do a lot of bargain shopping at a corner, right? Getting these guys in the 4th round, 6th round, getting former first round picks from other teams that they don't want him anymore. So the fact that he was willing to draft him with his own first round pick, that said a lot to me, because those guys that he's bargain shopped on have been good, but they're not these blue chippers, right? Trent McDuffie is. And now he's starting to show exactly that. I mean, I know PFF has a lot of critics, or people love it depending on what day it is, but He's been the highest graded cornerback in the league so far, Aaron. The highest graded.
Oof.
Guys don't really throw his way. He already has 2 forced fumbles. That's one thing I really, really like about him, because I didn't know this out of college, that the fact that he's so physical. I knew about his coverage skills, that he has the technique. He's very fundamentally sound, but he's not scared to get down there and get his nose dirty. And I think that really, really elevates this defense to another level, because now you're taking the ball away. You have a corner that likes to tackle. And like I mentioned, guys don't really throw his way. And when they do, he's sticky, man. He's just really, really sticky. And then shout out to our great friend, Nate Taylor. He had a great article on The Athletic talking about Trent McDuffie. And Dave Merritt, the defensive backs coach, said he's the best corner we've drafted. He's the best corner. And the title of the article is basically Trent McDuffie is the second best defender on this team now, behind Chris Jones. Some people may say Nick Bolton. Some people may say L'Jarius Sneed, but I think I'm here. Man. I know it's only after 3 weeks in the sophomore season, but I really think you have a potential all-pro corner. And that's something the Chiefs haven't been able to say in a very, very, very long time.
I don't think that's a stretch at all. We're continuing to recap Chiefs and Bears here on Chiefs Coast to Coast, episode 57 on Arrowhead Pride Podcast Network. This is something that I really don't want to keep talking about on this podcast. This is something that I want this to be the last time we bring this up on Chiefs Coast to Coast. We're talking Jawaan Taylor and his snap timing once again after an untimely penalty wipes away 7 points from the world champs. Jawaan Taylor was flagged for illegal formation, and this is really starting to get kind of murky, man, because now guys are doing like Zapruder film videos where they're taking screenshots and like drawing a straight line, and then they're watching Lane Johnson get off the line and saying, wait a minute, he's doing this, and it's all over the place. There's no consistency. Andy Reid said as much. Patrick Mahomes said as much. So today, Wednesday, in the locker room, I went right up to Jawaan Taylor himself and asked him this point-blank question about the flags. This is what he had to say.
I wouldn't say picked on. Definitely, I know I definitely got to clean it up, so I wouldn't just, blame the officials. So no.
I asked him if he feels like he's being picked on. Andy Reid earlier in the week said that the inconsistencies need to stop. He feels like he is being picked on. And I think Taylor was being a little company man, a little political with his answer. But at this point, it's no longer just fun and games. This is impacting now deep until the first quarter of the league season. What's the issue here, Mark? Or what's the solution, I guess, is the better question here for Jawaan Taylor. Is it internal, or do the Chiefs need to start seeking inside the league office with what's going on?
I have a feeling that they've already done that. Based on Andy Reid's pressers as of late, he's starting to seem very, very annoyed and ticked off by this. And that's not typical Andy Reid. And, he brought in somebody else, right, to see if they would call it. And they were lined up the exact same way as Jawaan Taylor, and they didn't call it. But when Jawan's out there, they're calling it. So, yeah, I think target on his back. I mean, you're playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the it team in the league right now, defending Super Bowl champions. And it started Thursday night against the Detroit Lions when everybody was watching. And it's been a trickle effect since then. But it's something that you hope doesn't linger throughout the course of the season. Like, could you imagine if a touchdown is taken away in a playoff game because of that? Could you imagine? Like, I don't want it to get to that point. So I really hope they can somehow nip this in the bud. That's why I'm glad it's happening so early. I'm glad it's happening. If it was going to happen, I'm glad it's happening right now. I'm glad this didn't start like in December, because then it could linger into January. So hopefully it's week 4 coming up. You have plenty of weeks to clean it up, or the refs to finally just let it go. We got the message. Okay. Now it's getting a little weird now. So I have faith, though, that this would not be a thing throughout the entire course of the season.
Remember when we were in that upside down portion of the NFL world where like nobody knew what a catch was, and like guys had to survive the process of the catch, and it had to hit the ground, and one cheek equals 2. Like there was this whole thing around what a catch. We're kind of entering that point now with false starts. It's like Well, are you lined up right? Is your space? Are you getting the jump? Are you right with the ball, or are you right with the? Like, it's all over the place. The videos are getting ridiculous. I wonder if, because you and the chat is right about this. Somebody chimed in and says Andy normally stays out of the ref stuff, and that's accurate, right? Like, usually it takes a lot to get Andy Reid to be critical of anybody. I heard him say glowing things about Zach Wilson today, which I was like, bro. So for Andy Reid to come out and be as forceful, be as straightforward as he was, I think you may be right. I think they've already done their due diligence behind the scenes to say our guy isn't the only one. So if you're going to call it for us, then it needs to be a flag on every other guy when he does it as well. I hope that that's enough, but I guess we'll wait and we'll see, Mark Gunnels. Let's go from one Taylor to another. How about that? You like that transition?
Yeah.
This is your girl, man. This is your game day. I woke up and I had a couple text messages that said, you know, there might be a star sighting. There might be somebody there that you want to look out for. And this was cool to see. If you haven't heard, Taylor Swift was at the latest Chiefs game. She was sitting in a box, which had been reported as Travis Kelce's box. It is the family suite that Travis Kelce had access to this week. So she was there. They were spotted after the game together. She has brought all this attention to Kansas City, and a lot of people tuned in, Mark Gunnels. The numbers are in. The Chiefs-Bears was the most watched NFL game on any network this week. Averaged 24.3 million viewers. Also ranked first for women's age 12 through 49. I don't know if there's any really serious football analysis here. I just know you're a Swiftie, so I'm going to clear out and just let you have at it.
Well, you know what's fascinating about those numbers and the fact that it was the most watched game is the fact that that game was going on the same time as the Dallas Cowboys game. And that game was close. It was competitive. Like, they were on upset alert. Like, that was actually a game that people would want to watch to see the Cowboys lose against the freaking Cardinals, while this game was a blowout from the beginning. So that, to me, was shocking. And it just reiterated the star power that Taylor Swift has. The fact that people wanted to watch the Chiefs beat the Bears by 40 points just to see ISOs of Taylor Swift in a box. But, I mean, big picture-wise, I tweeted this tongue-in-cheek. I kind of believe it, though. The Chiefs are the new America.
You know, put your money in the jar, by the way, because you posted it on X.
The Chiefs. I did it. On X. I posted this on X. The Chiefs are the new America's team. It's no longer the Dallas Cowboys. And you could have argued before this even happened. I mean, 5 straight AFC Championship games. Face of the league and Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce, best tight end. Best coach, Andy Reid. But now you got the Swifties on your side. Travis Kelce's jersey sales went up 400%, Aaron, in 24 hours. Did you see his podcast live today? You see how many viewers it had on there? Record breaking.
I can't believe it.
New heights. All the Swifties were tuned in to New Heights today. We're America's team. And I think it's only right because we're in the heart of the country.
Oh, you're reaching now.
This is right in the middle of the map. I mean, it doesn't get more American than Kansas City, Missouri, baby. The Swifties, welcome to the kingdom. If you guys want to learn what 11 personnel is, follow me on Twitter at Mark A. Gunnels. I will help you guys watch all 22 film. Let's go. I love it. What did she say in the sweet box? Let's effing go. I'm all in, baby. I don't
know why it took this long for people to realize. I won't go America's team. I'm going to let you be Skip Bayless on today's episode. But I don't know why it took so long for people to realize that, you know, the Chiefs and this culture that they have around Mahomes and Kelce. I won't mention Reed, just Mahomes and Kelce. It is Heatles-esque. if you will. It is got that phenomenon, especially here in Kansas City, especially here in the Midwest. I think that, bringing in this fan base and Taylor Swift, and you can speculate on whether it's a real relationship or not a real relationship, whatever. Bringing in another fan base to expand kind of their territory, their global territory, their footprint out, for new people to come into the fold, for casual fans to come into the fold and realize what's going on here. Not only is this what American football is, but this is the most exciting brand of American football. They've got a quarterback who can do anything. They've got a quarterback that can, throw sidearm and behind the back. He didn't I think that this is, I don't know why it took so long, because they've won two out of the last 4 Super Bowls, been to 5 straight SEC. I don't know why it took this long, but I think that it really shows and kind of amplifies that the Chiefs have a dynasty, man, on the field and off.
Yeah, I mean, just this adds so much to the aura of Kansas City Chiefs football. It feels like Showtime Lakers. It just feels.
That's another good one. Yeah,
it feels so big now. And it already was big. It should have already been big, but now there's no cap on it at this point. As long as Taylor Swift is rocking with the Chiefs and hanging out with Travis Kelce, TMZ or whoever called him out after the game in the drop top. You see that picture with Swift riding around the town? She was like downtown Kansas City. Could you imagine if you were just on Westport and you just saw Kelce and Swift just riding through the town casually with the top down? Are we going to see Taylor Swift on Westport?
I give it 2 weeks before she's like, let's get out of town. Let's go to LA.
You don't see Taylor Swift at your favorite bar you always go to.
No, she's not showing up. She's not showing up there. It was cool to see KC on the big stage. I had family members, casual fans, people I hadn't talked to since high school, reaching out, and that showed you the reach, man. That shows you just how big her brand is, and it seems like Travis Kelce is attaching himself to that brand. I wish them the best
of luck. Swifties watching the show right now.
I see somebody chimed in. Mike Richardson says, first-time listener, I mess with this show. Appreciate you chiming in with us, Mike Richardson. Hey. Hopefully we got a couple new Swifties tuned in. We gave them the fix. We're actually going to stick in entertainment here because it was a busy week in entertainment and still will continue to be here in Kansas City. This will be fast. The Super Bowl has a halftime show. They've officially announced it. And I thought this was a home run hit. This had to be it, right? I was thinking, I was doing the math. I'm like, oh God, we probably might not get another like of the culture act. They might go boy band or something like that. But Vegas, they did it big, and the one and only ATL in the building. Usher Raymond is the Super Bowl halftime performer. What's your favorite Usher song, if you could?
Oh man, now you put me on the spot there. It's hard.
You don't even know any Usher songs?
What do you mean? No, it's hard to pick one.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, Confessions, the whole album, that's classic. That's one of the best albums ever. Oh man, honestly, you know what? I'm gonna keep it in the club. I'm gonna say Love in the Club. Yeah, I like that jam. That was a smooth. You know what I'm saying? You can get your little step onto it. You got a little shorty next to you. Love in the club. But no, honestly, like if I'm like, it depends on what vibe I'm in. If I'm in my feelings, then it's probably You Got It Bad.
I think he's going to have a lot to choose from. Usher's got generations of hits. I'm going, it's definitely going to ring off. Absolutely. I hope Lil Jon and Ludacris are in the building representing for the entire city of Atlanta. But I like, if you're talking about in the club, I like Love in This Club. It might not be Super Bowl appropriate, but I think Usher's gonna tear it down.
I mean, it's only fitting though, because every summer he always has a residency out there.
Yeah.
In Vegas, it's always a big thing. So I think it's fitting that he's doing the Vegas halftime show. But I will say, this made me feel officially like an old head. I've seen a lot of young guys, young people on the internet talking about Usher. I haven't heard an Usher song since 2020. 10 when I was 3 years old. I'm like, how old are you guys? Like, they're calling the usher washed and all of that stuff. I'm like, oh man, yeah,
It's
I'm reached
disrespectful.
that. I've reached that old head phase now because they're they don't
And
know.
while
They
the
don't know any better.
Chiefs are busy, Sunday night football, you can watch that here in Kansas City exclusively on your home of the Chiefs, KSHB 41. There will be something else going on at Arrowhead Stadium. The one and only Queen Bee in the building. She's tearing down Arrowhead Stadium. Y'all better be mute when the mute challenge happens. I asked Patrick Mahomes about it today. Said he didn't know what the mute challenge was, but he knew Brittany was upset because the date got changed. So she's not going to be able to make it. She'll be at MetLife instead. But I think it's cool. You know, Sprinkle, like KC is like the epicenter of like entertainment for 1 week, right? for 1 week or like a week and a half, we got a lot going on.
I found it interesting too. I mean, I guess the game is so early it won't matter, but the Royals have a home game that same day against the Yankees. It's
Will
a
people
12
be
o'clock
there?
start though. But I mean, the Yankees fans might pull up.
2 teams that aren't making the playoffs this year.
Well, you know, the Yankees have a brand, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't time play at night too. Like, I don't know, it's gonna be some tough decisions to be made, right? Well, I guess I don't know.
That seems
I
like a
thought it was
pretty
kind of
easy decision to me. Beyonce
what's the
or
easy decision?
Beyonce or the Royals? You
No,
picking
I'm
the
talking about the
Royals?
Chiefs. I'm talking about the Chiefs game. Like watching it, like having to watch it. Yeah. Because they're both at nighttime.
There will be some interesting tailgates going on in the Truman Sports Complex parking lot. Let's go ahead and preview that Chiefs Jets game.
Stop it. Stop it. You can't do this. You can't escape. You can't make these plays. You can't make these throws.
Come on, give us a sneak preview.
Chiefs preview.
I want to get to some milestones before we get to injuries. These were eclipsed in the win over the Bears. Andy Reid solidifies his 271st career win that moved him past Tom Landry for 4th all time on the head coaches list for wins. We are witnessing greatness when it comes to Andy Reid and these Chiefs, as well as their quarterback. Patrick Mahomes officially becomes the fastest quarterback ever to reach 25,000 passing yards, did it in 83 games. The record previously was held by Matthew Stafford, who got it done in 90 games. Cool stuff there. Now we're talking Chiefs Jets, and the first injury report of the week is out. It's Wednesday when we record these, Thursdays in your feed, but a lengthy injury report list. Only a few of them limited or did not practice. Kadarius Toney and Chris Jones listed as limited participants. Toney with the toe, Chris Jones with a groin injury. Nick Bolton is once again absent from practice dealing with that ankle injury, and Noah Gray was sick on Wednesday and did not make it to practice. I think of those names before I hand the rock over to you, Mark Gunnels. I'm paying attention to Kadarius Toney. The Chiefs have been monitoring his snap count and his usage very, very closely. I believe he only played 10 snaps in the game against the Bears. Obviously, they didn't really need him, but he has not played much in kind of all 3 games. I kind of figured that this may happen, especially kind of how we talked about him leading into the year with the injury, trying to rebound, had the surgery in training camp, didn't practice a lot, and then the letdown in week 1. They've been very careful with getting him back into the fold. Who has your attention from the injury report headed into this Jets game?
Yeah, so obviously Kadarius Toney, but I'm also looking at Nick Bolton. The fact that he didn't practice again, he didn't practice last week either. Now, maybe it's a precautionary thing because I don't think they need him again this week against the Jets in that offense. So I'm okay with him sitting out again, but I'm wondering, is this actually more serious than is being led on? So I'm keeping my eye on that, but I'm not overly concerned. As far as Kadarius Toney, I think he will play again, but I think it's going to be this common theme all year where he plays, but his snaps are very, very far few in between, especially with the emergence of not Richie James, but Rashee Rice. I think that and the fact they're showing confidence in him so early, I think that kind of makes it easier to kind of slow play Kadarius Toney than obviously Sky Moore we know MVS is always going to get the snaps, and Justin Watson as well. So it's a pretty crowded room of guys that they seem to trust. So I don't think there's really a need or a rush to get Tony out there and have him play 50% of the snaps right now.
I think another thing that's kind of helped is the emergence of this Montrell Washington kid, the returner from Denver. We had a chance to catch up with him in the locker room on Wednesday after practice. Said, hey, he was just eager to have a role. Found out that he would be coming onto the roster late and was excited to just, help out the champs and get them in good field position. Had 3 punt returns, the longest of which went for 23 yards. To help set up KC in that situation. Look, I don't think they're rushing KT at all. As we've said multiple times on this platform, whatever he gives you is gravy. We think the trade is already justified based on what he was able to do in the Super Bowl against Philadelphia. Make sure he's right. Make sure his confidence is there, because you don't want to put him out there and then have a disaster strike or anything like week 1. Slow play it. There's reinforcements behind him, and I don't think we're too worried. Even if Nick Bolton had to miss, this is the time in the schedule that you want to miss, Mark, right? Like Bears and Jets. Like, I couldn't script up any 2 better games for a guy to miss, who we know is a big part of what they like to do down the stretch.
Yeah, 100%. Then next week, you're actually playing a real offense. I know they're 0-3, but the Vikings offense is legit. So that would be a game maybe where you do want your defense at full strength, because they do put up points despite them being winless at this point.
Mark, I got aggregated today.
What's up?
I hate when that happens, man. And it wasn't for. Okay, so we're talking Chiefs Jets. So we're in the locker room, and we wanted to get an opinion from one of the Chiefs defenders on, what they see from the Jets offense. It wasn't me specifically who asked this. I thought it, and I was around when it was asked. But my good friend Todd Lebo from Sports Radio 810 WHB here in Kansas City asked Willie Gay, when he cuts on the film, what does he see from Zach Wilson and the Jets offense? Kind of stopped, paused. You could see a little smile developing. And his first words after that were, he sees a team that likes to run the ball or wants to run the ball. And then it kind of went on and said, didn't mean that as a slight to Wilson, but, they had a big change at the quarterback position. None of that nuance mattered. I mean, none of the nuance mattered at all. Oh, Serta says he has the video, actually.
Oh, I didn't know we had that.
Yeah, let's hear from Willie Gay right now here in the locker room.
When you look on tape, what are you seeing from Zach Wilson and their offense?
Damn. That was a hard question, I can't lie. The team that want to run the ball, of course, man, not that wasn't, to be funny or anything, but A-Rod got hurt and it turned into a team where, like, in panic mode almost. That's what I see, at least. And they got great running backs, so now they're just trying to pound and ground, like they did, what game was that? Who did they just... I don't know if they won or not, but I feel like the running back's been rolling. So, like I say, 3 great ones. So I feel like that's their game plan.
Is that bulletin board material in your opinion?
First of all, why do you seem like so stressed out about this or worried?
Look, it does me no good to put dudes in position where it looks like they're taking shots at one side or another. That's why I included the whole quote in that tweet. That's why I tried to add as much context as possible. I put the full question in there, put part of his in. Like, it doesn't do me any. A lot of people will be like, "Oh, you clickbait," and no. I am the one who actually has to go in there and see these guys again. The last thing I want to do is have to have an awkward moment or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think, let me just say this. I'll pass it after this. Why is it so hard to say guys are struggling? Why is it so hard to just say, you know what? He looks uncomfortable. We're going to make sure he stays uncomfortable. I think when you try and like dance around it and like kind of smile and laugh and smirk, it almost makes it worse, Mark. It almost makes it almost is like the elephant in the room avoiding.
Well, I mean, first of all, shout out to that J School in Columbia, man. Great journalism skills by Aaron Ladd there. give him the full story, man. Hard hitting journalism, baby. I love it. But he's not wrong though. And shout out to the Kingdom Queens for saying that. He's just stating facts. I mean, like I say, it's just facts. It's just facts. I mean, and am I scared to poke the bear of Zach Wilson? Like, who is Zach Wilson for me to be like, uh-oh, I gave Zach Wilson bulletin board material now. Oh, I need to watch out. He's going to throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns on me now. Like, no, this is Aaron Rodgers or something, or Josh Allen. This is Zach Wilson. If anything, I want him to feel like he has to prove a point, because that means he's going to throw some picks. He's going to be forcing stuff and trying to be out of body. So, yeah, I mean, who gives a rip if I give Zach Wilson bulletin board material?
In that clip, Willie Gay said that the Jets running backs had been rolling and that was really going to be their point of emphasis entering this game. The Jets running backs are averaging 4 yards a carry and 91 yards a game. So, it's just...
Oh, do we have a breaking news sounder, Serta?
Just, you got breaking news here for us?
I have breaking news.
Something just came across?
Jordan Schultz, very, very credible source, just tweeted, Taylor Swift plans to be in attendance for the Chiefs-Jets game this Sunday night in New York. Wow.
Why did you waste our
breaking? Taylor Swift will be in New York Sunday night, baby. Uh-oh. This thing is rolling, man. This thing is rolling.
Why did you...
That's breaking news. Wow.
I'm looking at the post now. Taylor Swift plans to be in attendance. And
it's Sunday night. You know Chris Collinsworth is going to be all over it all night long.
I went to school for this, right? Like, I went to journalism school. I took out student loans, and now y'all got me tracking down Taylor Swift. So you got nothing for Zach Wilson? You got more energy for Taylor Swift than you do for Zach Wilson.
As I should. As I should. Zach Wilson would not be in this league in 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3?
Oh, am I being too nice?
Well, they did some actual football news. They actually did bring in Trevor Siemian this week, sign him to the practice squad.
Yeah,
he could potentially see the field this week against the Chiefs.
I mean, hey, it could get ugly. I mean, let's say if the Chiefs get out to an early lead, and New York fans are relentless, so I can hear the boos already, and they might start chanting Trevor Siemian's name. You know how fans are with the backup quarterback. And it's New York, so, I mean, it's possible. I mean, he just got there, though, so he probably doesn't know the playbook, really. So I doubt he gets in this week unless it has to be just complete. He's fumbling. The game's out of hand, and they're just like, let's just see what he got. We'll give him, we'll script 15 to 20 plays, see what he can do.
Let's get to Vegas before Mark's Wi-Fi starts tripping. Oh, there it is. There it is. 2 touchdowns. Win by at least 2.
Let's go to Vegas with Mark.
All right, we're back in Vegas, recapping week 3 with Mark Gunnels, our Chiefs picks expert. He went 1-2 last week, and here were the picks. Some of these are bad beats, man. I'm gonna be honest.
I was so close, bro. Justin Fields was 2 yards away, dude. Oh my god!
You had the over on Justin Fields rushing yards at 48.5. He finished with 47 total rushing yards. Brutal bad beat there. The other miss was the over on Mahomes passing yards at 285.5, and he finished with 272.
So close to a perfect day.
That's Jawan Taylor. Tell Jawan Taylor to line up on the right.
Yes. Oh my god. I didn't even think about that. Oh my gosh.
And the one hit, this was a gimme. You took the Chiefs first half spread. It was 7 points, and the Chiefs were leading 34-0 going what's the locker room. So Mark Gunnels goes 1-2 in week 3, and he's 3-6 on the year. I don't think that's bad. You're in a good spot. All it takes is one perfect week to get you back to 500. I have a feeling that this week could be that perfect week. Mark Gunnels and Taylor Swift are looking ahead to week 4. Mark, what you got for us?
All right, so I'm going back to Mahomes passing yards, but I'm taking the under this week, actually. It's at 280.5. I think this Jets defense is really, really good. They have one of the best secondaries in the league. I think the Chiefs lean a little bit more on the running game. And if it does get out of hand like it did last week, you're not going to be passing the ball that much. So I think the under there is pretty safe at 280.5. And I'm taking the Chiefs spread full game this week, 9.5. I think they win this game by at least 10 points. Like I mentioned before, this Jets offense is really, really bad. I think you're going to get a lot of extra possessions, a lot of 3 and outs. That defense will get tired eventually. And I think the Chiefs are good enough to win this game by at least 2 possessions. And then I'm going the other side here. I'm actually going to take the over on Garrett Wilson's receiving yards. It's only at 52.5. Now, I know last week he only had, I think, 48. But I think they will have a conscious effort of trying to force feed him the ball. There's been some complaints here and there. This is supposed to be his breakout year, year 2 with Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, Rodgers got hurt, but I think he can get at least 53 receiving yards in this game. He may pop a big one for about maybe over half of that. So I think I'm pretty good there. So those are my 3 plays. Mahomes under passing yards, 280.5. Chiefs full game spread at 9.5. And the over on Garrett Wilson's receiving yards at 52.5.
I like the plays. Of the plays, I think the spread is my Ladd lock for 9.5. I don't see this game being rather close at all. And now that I know that Taylor Swift's going to be in attendance, just going off fast.
Our bets are off.
But I like those. Lock those in. Mark Gunnels is trying to get back to 500 here in week 4. Thank you for those plays. Your last chance to get in some questions here before we sign off episode 57. I like this one to start us off, though, from KC Colossal. Do we need to question the backup quarterback position? Blaine Gabbert came in some garbage time relief. Didn't look great. Threw 2 picks. I don't really want to just dissect them because I didn't really look at them, but I'm just stat sheet hunting. 2 picks. A lot of people were nervous going into the season, said, hey, maybe Shane Buechele should have been the guy. He is in Buffalo now, I believe.
I believe so, yes.
So are you questioning Blaine Gabbert as the backup?
Yeah, I am. It makes me rather nervous if Mahomes were to go down and again in a crucial playoff game where Chad Henne, I was pretty comfortable. You know what you're going to get from him. Nothing flashy. Not going to take any big risks. Just going to go by the script and be very careful with the ball. Blaine Gabbert didn't look that good in the preseason. Come in, couple picks. One wasn't his fault, though. But, I mean, it's a little shaky. But obviously you never hope that you have to see him out there. But I do wish we had a little better safety blanket at this point. I am a little concerned.
To me, he looks like a guy that's still learning a new system. I wouldn't put too much stock into it. I still have faith in his ability to potentially step in long-term if Mahomes were to be out, knock on wood. But it didn't look good. There's no way really to sugarcoat 2 interceptions. It was a blowout, so you won and you move on. But just as we see Mahomes trying to get on the same page with these new wideouts, I imagine a backup quarterback with even less knowledge of the system is trying to do the same exact thing. Great question there from KC Colossal. Here's one from Kingdom Queens. Are we going Trailer or Tavis for the couple name for and I'll enter one here. I heard this one today and I actually don't hate it, right? So follow me here. Kelsey, but instead of E, it's IE for like Swifty and Kelsey. You see what I'm saying there?
Yeah. Okay. I don't mind that one. But between these two options, I'm going Tavis.
Tavis. That doesn't even sound, that sounds like a messin.
I mean, I don't know. Trailer.
That's you can get made fun of. You can get made fun of with that name, Trailer.
Yeah, it makes me think of other things. I saw a meme, but I don't think I could say that on this show.
Yeah, this is a family program, please.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'll tell you off air.
Great podcasting there, Mark. Thank you so much. Good show, clean show. We're going to link while you're in town. If y'all have any questions in the meantime, 816-514-1267. Always looking for voicemails, always looking for comments. Appreciate y'all being part of the show. For Steven Serta, for Mark Gunnels, I'm Aaron Ladd. Coast to Coast boys are out of here.
We out.